Welcome to the Main Event Fightcast. I'm your host, Vega, alongside my co-host, Coach Mike. And shit, man, I was not expecting UFC Seattle to be the banger that it was.
Yeah, it was.
That was a showcase.
Knockout.
That was a
Knockout.
showcase,
Knockout.
bro.
Knockout.
Like
So.
Seattle was the type of night that you want to show your friends when you're like, this is why I like combat sports.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because none of it looked awkward or weird or questionable. None of it really got boring. I mean, we did have one fight that got a little boring, and somehow one fight of the night. But we'll get to that
I
a
don't
little
think
bit.
it got boring. It was just really bad in the sense that it's a 3-round fight. They're super tired.
Super tired.
Like how did they get to the 6th round? It's only a 3-round fight. They were whiffing shots.
They barely got through. They barely were able to get through the 3rd round.
Well, seeing Julius Walker speak, I wanted him to be good. Like first time seeing him,
it's because you were a basketball fan. You was just like, basketball niggas coming.
No. He was talking.
He was like, finally, tired of these football guys coming in here.
He was talking a lot of basketball stuff, but no, he just had good energy. But
he seems like a good dude.
His game plan was solid, but it made sense why that was his game plan. His striking is not there.
Good.
It's not there.
So that was the interesting part of that fight for me, is that there wasn't any part of Julius's game that I thought was good. Right? Like he's athletic, and being athletic sometimes can be the cheat code against a lot of different fighter styles, simply because they don't expect that type of explosiveness to be so consistent. Right? So even the way he started the fight,
with a pretty athletic guy that was able to stuff every take.
Old Alonzo is not young Alonzo. Right, so like his athleticism does not compare, in my opinion. Now, granted, he did win the fight. He did win the fight.
He's not an easy guy to take.
No, obviously.
Bo Nickel first struggled with him, and everybody laughed at.
But that's one of the things. I don't even think that Julius Walker was really good with the takedown piece. I think he literally just, again, tried, and this is probably how he ended up losing the fight. Right, when you think about it from like a retrospective game plan, sort of. Right, the game plan was be the more athletic guy and apply more pressure. Right, like right out the gate, basically ran across the cage, shoved Menifield into the cage walls, and then tried to grind him from there.
And apparently that's the way he starts every fight.
And that's the way he fights every fight. So it's like, is he actually growing and developing these skill sets, or is he just outperforming people who aren't as athletic?
It shows the levels of where he was fighting at.
Right.
And now he's
transitioned to bigger levels.
He's like, this is a perfect guy to debut on. He hasn't looked too sharp lately. And you quickly see his levels to this.
Yeah. Pretty quickly see their levels. Because there was a couple moments in the fight that I was like, damn, bro, Alonzo might get this knockout. He might get this finish. Yeah, and there was a couple moments where I was like, holy shit, Julius might get this knockout. He might get this finish.
No, I never felt that way because he was whiffing shots, bro.
He was whiffing them, but the few of them that did connect were wobbling Menifield.
I guess.
They were wobbling.
What was good is at one point he started saying, let me throw the elbows, but he never landed it flush. Had he landed
flush, he landed one flush, but I don't know if he really want to talk about it, because he probably doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh, spinning.
He landed one elbow flush.
You could have blinked twice when he started the attack and still saw it perfectly.
It was the Matrix elbow.
It was that slow.
He threw the elbow at Neo speeds.
It was that slow.
It was just like...
It was bad.
But it landed flush.
It landed flush, but it hardly had impact.
Because at that speed, all you did was put your elbow on his face, bro.
I'm elbowing you.
Take this. So that was pretty... as far as the debut goes, though, I think score-wise, right? Debut score, I would say his debut probably falls middle of the road. Like, I'm not really... Like, I'm excited to see him fight again because he did such a great job at the press conference. Mm-hmm. I'm not excited to see him fight again because I enjoyed watching him fight.
Sounds crazy to say, but he's showed that he's going to be a durable guy.
You think so? Because I don't think Menifield is that powerful.
Well, he caught him with some shots.
But he's not that powerful. So, like, when the better strikers catch him with the more powerful shots, are we saying the same thing?
I never felt like Julius was about to get put out with the shots. Like, he ate them well. So, I don't know. He could be a durable guy. Now, we don't know how ready he was for this fight.
Nah, 10 days notice.
Given this
10 days
opportunity, everybody's saying yes.
Yeah.
Right out the cup.
Yeah.
He
10
was
days.
he was posting his weight, and it was pretty up there. He was
10
like
days notice and
228 the day of weigh-in.
yeah.
Like, come on.
And he did talk about how, you know, he always saw it in his plan to be in the UFC, but as far as how his plan was kind of shaped out, he was looking
early.
towards the end of the year more so as opposed to like this opportunity now.
So it's not as early as I would have thought.
That's why I'm saying, like, because of his own words, his own plan, I feel like, bro, based on your plan, your UFC career is not going to last very long if this is how you showed up.
Yeah,
because you
should
be
have been
more
more ready if
you know?
You're like,
you're thinking towards the end of the year, but people only
if
fight
you're
3 or 4
6
times a
months
year.
early in your plan and you're not ready,
It wasn't going to go well. Right. And that's where I'm at with, like, bro, as far as striking goes, yes, he ate Menifield's shots, but again, in the light heavyweight division, when you look at that roster, is Menifield in your top 5 scary punchers, bro? Because for me, he's not. Like, and so, like, if you're getting punched in the face by Menifield and those shots are landing,
but if you're tired,
your head's coming off.
But if you're tired and like, I guess maybe he wasn't as tired as his punches looked. Maybe his striking.
Who, Julius?
Yeah, maybe his striking is just that.
Yeah, I don't think he was as tired, bro. Remember this part, like I made a joke about it in the opening, but like this part I do give a lot of credit to as far as him coming in from basketball, right? Like basketball and soccer are probably the most cardio heavy sports that we play in America, right? Like, or globally, right? Because at this point they're now very global. But so when I think of a basketball player showing up versus a football player showing up, like, yeah, bro, I don't really imagine that Julius was actually tired throughout the fight. Even when you look at his face at the end of the fight, the way he reacted, the way he believed in himself and thought he won, he didn't really look tired. You know what I'm saying? But skill set wise, he didn't really have a lot of skill set to throw out there that he would get tired from. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know.
He could have been. It could have been tired. He's getting tired out, like over trying on those takedowns, and I don't know if I would say that the technique was bad, but the technique was he wasn't great with technique.
There was
trying to use power.
I would lean more towards bad because there were more bad moments, but I wouldn't call his technique overall bad. I'd be like, it needs improvement.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard
for
me to say.
For sure.
Hard for me to say, oh, his technique is.
But you know you have a lot of improvement that you need when you get the same double leg or single leg situation 4 or 5 times and you blow it the same exact way. Right? Like how many times did we see him try to lift Menifield from the single leg and then push him a little bit too high against the cage so that he couldn't actually bring him down?
That's the thing. When you're doing these things and you're failing the shots, do you know why you're failing?
Do you know what you need to adjust?
In-fight adjustment. Like there was a video footage. I think it might have just been dropped or might have just resurfaced of Henry Cejudo and Aljo just talking about the little adjustments they were making in the fight. And I'm saying little, but they were crazy adjustments. And that's one of those things like watching that fight, most people probably are not having the time of their life.
Right.
But if you know grappling and you understand it, this is world-class grappling.
And because you said that, we're going to be all over the place with this fight card because, bro, world-class grappling, there's no way I'm going to not segue from that into Fluffy Hernandez versus Brendan Allen. You know what I'm saying? Now, personally, I never thought Brendan Allen was that good. So I want to just make that very clear. So even with what I'm saying, like, I still take this with a grain of salt, but that was an incredible grappling match to watch, bro. Like, seeing the way they kept tumbling back and forth. Granted, there were a lot more moments in there where Brendan Allen was just making bad decisions.
Yeah.
But there were enough bad decisions from Fluffy.
It's easy for us to say bad decisions, but when somebody's actually like you don't think he's that good, but you will agree that he's very good with the submissions.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When someone's that good with submissions, they often do things that are weird. Like why would he do that? And then the coach is like, he gets a submission off his back in this situation all the time.
Right. This could really.
They know what's up.
Right.
Like they know. So it's easy for us to say that would look terrible or whatever.
But to those,
Fluffy was in control the entire time.
Fluffy was in control the whole time, bro. You know what I mean? And I think I would excuse
any of the traps if they were there. he just
I would excuse the things that I'm calling mistakes more if he didn't repeat them the same way, right? So like
yeah.
having like
Same,
you
with the same breath
you
we were
got
talking
Fluffy's
about.
back, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you fall over the front 4 times? You got his back 4 times. You fell over the front 4 times.
Dude,
What's going on,
Fluffy was
bro?
tripping backwards and still managed to
And still ending up on
grab your
top.
waist and turn you around.
Like that shit is crazy. Like his best moment in the whole fight was the back half of the first round after Fluffy fell over and he ended up on his back and Brendan Allen had control time the whole rest of that round. From
I
that
thought the
point,
submission attempt early in the first round was probably his best moment.
and that was part of
And
that, but that was part
it
of that
lasted all
sequence.
about 20 seconds where
Yeah.
he was threatening.
And then he went into the mount position and was going for ground and pound and trying other things. But even from that position, Fluffy was safe. Like the craziest thing, and this is one of those moments where I look at him like, yo, bro, there's certain things that a fighter will do mid-fight that you just gotta be like, word, bro. Like, yeah, nah, I have to kill you in real life. Like, there's no way that this could ever be a street fight and one of us we're both gonna walk away alive, bro. Right? Because Brendan Allen is in full mount, has Fluffy in almost the worst position any fighter ever wants to be in. Cracks him a couple times, and Fluffy laughs in his face and sticks his tongue out with 25 seconds left on the clock, bro. Like if he did that with 5 seconds, I'd be like, it is what it is. If you already had the 10-second clapper, you heard that, cool. Like it's not, bro. You haven't even heard that. You don't know how much longer this is going to be, and you're laughing in his face with your tongue out. That's crazy.
Dominated somebody, and they're like landing sometimes, like you just start to feel he can't hurt me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like that's basically what that laugh is, bro. And that's what I mean. Like in a street fight, nah, bro. One of us is not making it from here, bro. At that point, I need to put it all in this,
fight,
bro.
The guy that does that is getting knocked out the next 5 seconds.
Like I'm putting everything into the next strikes that I got coming for you, bro. There's no part of me that's not coming for your soul.
And part of it is Fluffy thinking like, you quite crack me with your best shots right now. I'm not going out. I'm not gonna give up.
Right. That's literally what's going through his head. Like
I've dominated the entire fight. You're not getting it.
You gotta do it to me. You gotta put me out.
There's nothing you can do.
And so that was an exciting fight because I was rooting for my boy Fluffy the whole time. You know the vibes, bro. Here we go.
It was
top
exciting.
10 ranking for sure. I am of the belief that maybe 1 or 2 more fights before he's either fighting for contendership or fighting for the belt.
Interesting enough, I'm not the highest person on Fluffy, but his style might be perfect for DDP.
Yeah, it would be perfect for DDP. Because what's DDP gonna do to all that, bro? Fluffy's just scrambling nonstop, right? Like
DDP does
now,
not have great wrestling.
DDP might have equivalent striking to be able to keep it, but wrestling is where he's gonna take it.
His striking is way ahead of him. It's just we can't really
ahead of Dracus.
No, of Fluffy.
Dracus striking is ahead of Fluffy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, way ahead of him. It's just that we can't really
We can't really tell.
We can't really tell you the techniques he's doing.
Like I think that was a jab,
but he's way more effective. That's for sure as a striker.
Whatever he's doing, he knows what he's doing.
But Fluffy's style of he's not gonna play that game and just grab him and rob him.
I'm just gonna exactly, and that's what I was saying, bro. He's basically marabbing people, bro, and that's gonna be the new verb because it just sounds cool
in a division that doesn't really have great defensive wrestlers.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that Brendan Allen thrived in. He had about 3 or 4 subs.
It sucks to say this, but it's almost as if Fluffy is everything people thought Brendan Allen was last year. Right? Because remember, Brendan Allen got into the UFC first, but Fluffy had beaten him for the title the same exact way he beat him last night, 7 years ago. Right? So cool, Brendan Allen got here first. He did the sub run. He was almost on a 10-fight win streak if it wasn't for the Chris Curtis thing. Right? But then you get a guy like Fluffy come in. Dude's already on a 7-fight win streak. Right? Like he's pretty much dominating every fight if he's not finishing it. You know, and he just did it to the guy that you guys were talking about should be up for the title last year. So it makes sense for me. You know what I mean?
I never could have seen that, but
he did. Put him up against Aim Evolve.
Come up out of nowhere for some people, like in the rankings. I won't call it fraud check because I wasn't of the thinking that he was gonna ever be a champion.
Well, nah, if we were gonna say fraud check, it would have been in the loss to Imavov, because that loss doesn't make a ton of sense either. Because it's like, bro, what are you doing in the cage? Like, I don't get it, bro. You look like you know how to fight, and then you start doing stuff where you're just like, do you know how to fight?
That happens. That happens with that style of fighter. When you talk about Paul Craig,
Paul Craig is a great example.
he's you're the entire time.
Yep.
If
Paul Craig
in
is
his
another
kind
good
of
example.
fight, the best thing that can happen in his kind of fight is somebody cracks him and gets overconfidently and overconfidently jumps on top of him. And
Yeah,
that's
but
what,
Paul Craig's days as being the guy known for that might be coming to a stop
no,
soon.
because you have a reputation. It's just like that Ryan Hawk guy. Nobody wanted to be near his leg lock.
But that's what I'm saying. I think we might be seeing somebody who gonna start taking that reputation in Melky Costa. Because listen, bro, to get taken down and throw no signs of a guillotine attempt,
I can't
and then
give
sneak the guillotine in there with
the reasons I
good
can't
pain,
give Milky
it's crazy.
that is because of the fact that he doesn't have that deficiency that Paul Craig has.
Oh yeah, that's valid.
In standing up.
Nah, his
And
stand up is solid.
and he got better takedowns
Yeah.
than Paul Craig does.
Yeah, he's
Different
definitely
divisions.
way more
You know
well
what I mean?
rounded.
Like Paul Craig is
but
one of those guys that has barely any attributes anywhere else.
yeah,
But grappling
is incredible.
and off the bottom at the bottom, that's just it's all full
But
up.
I don't
It's
know,
full
man.
way
I think for as many highlights as Craig has doing that,
yeah.
what Melk did last night might become the star highlight, bro, for guillotines of all time.
When you catch a veteran like that and make him look like such an amateur,
That shit was insane. Bro, he
I
caught
don't know
him
how
with the
I don't know
arm.
why I was so confident he was gonna get a sub. And
I was confident he was gonna get a sub, and that's why I bet it. But
and
like,
even seeing the sequence of everything, knockout, the sub is coming. The sub is coming. I told you
the
that.
sub came.
And
Two of them came, thankfully. But
yeah, 2 in a row.
but that was another really good, like, the back and forth exchange between. This is one of those few cases where it's like, I'm glad that I got my bet win. I'm glad for all of that. But the barbarian me is like, damn, that fight finished too soon. Like, that shit was it was warming up. It was starting to get exciting.
Those two kind of fighters, you want to see a banger.
But that was an incredible way to finish it, bro. Like, again, just sneaking the arm in there. It was so. He did get a performance of the night bonus, so possibly sub of the night.
Makes sense. Because the only thing that was weird was obviously the fight of the night, because
terrible choice.
I mean, what can you give? Everything is a
knockout. You give it to Ebo and Iwan, because they had the craziest back and forth exchange. If we're talking about fight of the night, right? Like, back and forth exchange. Now, I do understand the perspective of giving it to Menifield and Walker, because their fight lasted 15 minutes. Right? So, like, the back and forth went on for 15 minutes.
I think my big problem with that is they got booed.
They got booed, and it was a disgusting 15 minutes. Like, it was fun for the first round, but there are better fights that lasted only a round. Right?
I'm just
the
saying,
other two rounds were sloppy.
I know you can't get the feedback from the crowd that's watching at home, but you got the feedback right then and there.
Right in the arena.
You cannot give them a
right in the arena.
It's spitting in the crowd's face in that sense, and I don't think usually when the crowd is booing in certain situations, I'm like, what are they doing? The fight has been great.
This fight has been great.
But that
was one.
The moments that they booed were boo moments.
Were booable, and that's the thing, especially in, I guess, like, I understand the term can come off a little offensive, but it is what it is, right? Like, those sloppy ass fights just look weird after a while. You know what I'm saying? And that's always been the problem with heavyweight division across all combat sports. Is heavyweights are big ass people. If we have them playing by the same rules as 125er, yeah, bro, the third round is gonna suck. It doesn't matter who you put up there. We want this fight over in the first or second round, because anything beyond that is not going to be enjoyable.
It's going to come to a point where somebody's going to be like, I could beat a heavyweight. Run for 4 rounds, and the 5th round, go to work on them. Legit. You think it's not possible? It will happen.
That'll be,
because they get tired.
That would be a nightmare.
It's a matter of, can they take the punishment? Because I don't care how much you run, you're gonna get hit.
Right, you're gonna get hit. Can you outlast those strikes? Right, because if you can outlast whatever amount of energy they have maxed out for throwing strikes, that's all you got to do. But every one of those Jones could kill you.
Just
So
like Alton Almeida, where he doesn't cut any weight.
yeah, he just comes
Somebody's
in,
gonna be like,
just how I walk around, bro. Like this is me. I know my body.
and
Um, Another really interesting fight, and I really feel bad for him a little bit, kind of, because just how the rest of the card turned out. But Modestas Bukauskas, low key, had the craziest knockout of the night. Like I am a Gene Silva super fan. I'm a super fan of the Fighting Nerds. So obviously for me, that was knockout of the night. But taking away my fanboyness, right? Modestas had the knockout of the night, bro. He crumbled Rafael.
we're
Rafael,
just talking about technique and strength and everything. 100%. You're talking about
yo,
entertainment. Second to none. John Silva is second to none.
yeah, but again, that's an audience fan thing.
No,
Cause,
I get that's what performance is, the entertainment part.
but again,
But if
like
you're talking about just technique on a pure sport, that was the knockout of the night.
but that's what I mean. Like the only way you overlook the difference in technique and what happened is because of being a fan. Right. So
No,
like,
but I was-
so like there's already the bias. Like we already have the bias towards Gene because we're all fans. So of course the audience is gonna go crazy for him. He can be flashy, he can do what he wants.
If we take ourselves away and we just have casuals watching it, I think they remember John Silva's finish more because of the antics.
Maybe. Yeah, because of the buildup of the antics. But that's also something else that's hard to say because again, like you do that because you already know you have the crowd, right? Like you have an audience big enough, right? Because if you look at his first fights, his antics weren't as big, right? Like he was his fight behavior, like the sporadicness of his fighting, his movement, his activity was the same, right? But he didn't high five anybody in his first fight. I mean, that was in his second fight, so he built up to it pretty quick.
I think that was a different hunger in him back then. I had a question since we already talking about John Silva.
Yeah.
At this point, we're talking about John Silva. So, how much of his antics how much of the Bruce Buffer calling his name and him getting emotional is that a fake emotion?
I already told you what I believe. So respectfully to anybody watching it, I think John Silva's autistic. He gives me a lot of like low spectrum autism behaviors where I'm just like, bro, there's no real other explanation for it.
I don't know his story.
I don't know his life story, so this is complete
story,
speculation, right? Like I haven't dug into it.
But
just last night, I was like, holy shit.
If I had to pull out a theory as to why he's almost crying with Bruce Buffer, why he's calling his name, it's one of those things of he just dreamed of this. He never thought this would be a reality. So every time he calls his name, it's an emotional moment. Then he gets right into fight mode, and his adrenaline got him doing all these crazy things. Sometimes there's like outer body experiences, but I think he's also smart with it.
Well, I'm not just talking about his in the cage behavior, right? Like outside the cage.
Yeah,
if you look at any of his like, not just social media content, because everybody's performing for social media, obviously, right? But like you look at behind the scenes content for other fighters or for other people in the gym, right? And you just see, even when Gene Silva doesn't realize the camera's rolling, he's just doing some wild shit in the background, bro.
He's definitely a playful.
Like, he's just doing some shit. He's like, yo, he'll be by himself, bro.
He gives me the vibe of like, I'm happy to be here, playful and all that kinds of stuff. I won't.
And I don't think it's insulting. I don't think it's an insult to say someone might be on the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? I think like that's just something I like to acknowledge it as like there might be a moment.
I work with that population.
Yeah, there might be a moment where somebody does something and it's like, yo, you should be aware of this before you judge. Like there was a video of John Silva. I don't know what got into him, right? And it could be him just being playful, or it could be something crazy, like something deeper than that, right? Because sure, you could be hanging out with your people and do some weird animal noises, right? But after a while, you stop. John Silva is doing this for damn near 45 minutes to like strangers. Barking, bro. Barking.
He's building He wants to make sure he can do it for a whole championship fight.
Listen.
Nah.
If John Silva walked up to a complete stranger and barked at him, and that person does not know who John Silva is, they would be much happier if they understood any of those, like any piece of like, yo, bro, he might be on the spectrum, just don't go too crazy. Like, I rather, like, versus that is more likely to prevent the situation from getting worse than you looking at somebody who's getting mad because the guy barked at him and saying, oh, bro, you don't want to test him, he'll fuck you up. Like, that's gonna incite a fight. If that person's overconfident, egotistical, like, you're gonna get into something
But
that,
that's
you
also
know, so.
it's also one of those things that
But again, just speculating.
once the
Full
cameras is
speculating.
rolling,
Yeah. You don't know what
you
anybody's
don't know
really
what
about.
he really like. But
But also,
I
like,
think
bro.
he gives me Marab vibes. How Marab is always joking around doing all this stuff and building his brand up. But is he playing a dangerous game with all this like high fiving and doing all this stuff?
So for me, yes.
Playing a dangerous
Because
game?
and this goes into something else we didn't actually touch on with when we spoke about we didn't talk about Rob Font yet. That's why we didn't get to it. But so in the same way of Rob Font, right? Where, listen, we've already created a moment in the fight structure for us to have this humility, to acknowledge the martial arts spirit, to be humans, to remember this is just for sport, right? We don't have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So if we already touch gloves, the ref, touch gloves if you want, to acknowledge the fact that maybe we hate each other and we don't want to touch gloves. Like, this whole moment already happened, right? So when the fight starts, I've never understood why we have to touch gloves again, right? I can respect it. Well, I've respected it always. I've understood it or applied a little more understanding value to it for round 3 or round 5 because it's the last round and you're like, yo, great fight, let's go out there and give it our all, right? But the extra glove touch to start the fight, what are we doing it for?
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
You know what I'm saying? So that ties into the John Silva thing where it's like, bro, why are you high fiving people?
I'll take
Like,
it. I'll take it a little.
Somebody gonna take your head off. You gonna go like this and go like that?
I'll take it a little further. You're Hamza Shemaya. I'm Kevin Holland. We got into a fight backstage. Something happened with the card. Somehow I was supposed to fight Nate. You were supposed to fight Nate Diaz.
Yep.
You gonna fight me now. Right before the fight, touch gloves. We go back to our corner. I'm Kevin Holland and I go. And you say yes, we're gonna touch gloves.
No, you didn't.
Kevin Holland went to touch gloves and Hamza Shemaya shot on him and
that was it.
And it was
that
no,
was
he
the whole
had
fight.
never had another chance because he choked him out.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do? I can understand the perspective of why would Hamzat give him another high five? We don't like each other, and we finally getting to fight each other. We already gave each other respect. Why would you ask me for your hand again?
Right. It doesn't make sense.
But I see the other side of as a martial artist. Say no, and let's fight.
Right. And so in the Rob Font case,
yes,
I didn't see it.
I know. I saw it.
You did? Okay.
I
didn't see it on the other.
Michael Bisping didn't see it, and Felder kept. It's like 30 seconds into the fight already. Michael Bisping finished his point, and Paul Felder was like, "Yeah, but did you see the fake glove touch?" And
No, I'm not talking about not that. I saw the fake glove touch. I'm talking about I didn't see if Gene put his hand up, but I didn't see Rob. I did not see Rob put his hand up. So I just assumed they weren't going.
I don't think the cameraman got it.
So I don't know what happened there. Like, if they did, if they didn't, because that's really the question piece.
Yep.
Like, if it's a Hamzat case, it's like, yo, Rob, why'd you do that? Like, there's really no reason for that. I don't have any beef. You don't. I mean, he took the fight at that last minute. You appreciate it. Like, why'd you do that? But if they didn't do that, again, it's a universally understood symbol.
One you could consider as bad sportsmanship. The other one is what are you
Why
doing?
are we doing this again?
What room are you reading?
Right.
Because we don't like each other. Why are we giving each other multiple glove touches of respect? Let's fight, and maybe later we respect each other.
Yeah. But in the case of the Hamzat one, like, if you said yes.
I was just talking about the Hamzat one.
If you say yes in the Hamzat case, that's bad sportsmanship.
It's bad sportsmanship.
You know what I'm saying? If we don't see that,
but you
that
also
exchange.
on the other side of the coin, as Kevin.
Why'd you even try that, bro? Why are we even doing this?
What are we doing that? It's actually
it's become so habitual. Like, I don't even think it's a sign of fear. I think it's literally just become.
Kevin Holland's case is a sign of fear, in my opinion.
You think so?
Because we already tried the street fight. It got stopped. I didn't think I was gonna fight you. Somehow I'm booked to fight you, and now I'm not coming in with malice like I felt back there. Like, you talking tough and like going forward backstage when there's no money on the line. Now we got money. Let's go forward. Why are you in such a almost?
I'll give the
It's almost like you're
counter.
just collecting the check. He
I'll
knew he
give
was gonna lose.
I'll give the counter to that. It's the counterpoint to that is, yo, we was just about to scrap in the back. This shit is we scrapping, right? Like for me, in that moment, the glove touch is symbolizing you gonna meet me in the middle or not. Right? Because we know the type of fighter you are. You're a wrestler. You do all these extra technical things. Like I'm saying, are we gonna like we don't start right in front of each other when we fight, but when we was arguing, we was right in front of each other when the show was about to take off. So are you gonna meet me right where we were and set this shit off?
I think they need a new sign for that.
That would be right. Like something something
middle.
Because that I don't think when Kevin did that, I don't think that was out of respect. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like, yo, is we going to war? But again,
it's jumping a little too much in the psyche.
Yeah, I don't know. You feel me? I don't know.
I see the theory.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm like, I don't know if it's a fear thing. Because for me, like, yo, brother, this is your last chance to back out. You sure you're doing it? Word. You know?
So as we mentioned Rob Font, do you agree with Angelo that was a robbery?
If I stay true to what I love about MMA, and it's that it's a mixed martial art, I start to lean to yes, but then I fall back to no. Because at the end of the day, it's mixed martial arts, right? So yeah, Gene was able to mix in all of these different techniques, right? So from one side, I could say, damn, applaud that, bro. He was mixing it up. He did a little bit of everything, right? But then like the counter to that is Rob didn't have to. Right? So I understand the idea of like Rob, like you could say Rob can't, but you could also say Rob didn't have to. Like Rob didn't have to out wrestle you to get up after you slammed him. I only don't like
that point because Rob once again showed he's not good at defending takedowns repeatedly.
Yeah, but he showed even without being good at takedowns, you still can't stop me from beating you up.
That's why I don't think it's a robbery.
That's my like in the same way that I'm like
it could have went either way, and you're like sure,
that makes sense.
Right? He out wrestled him, and he got more damage on him.
You can't. For me, it's like I feel like if you're on the side of oh nah, a wrestler wins no matter as long as he got the control time, regardless of whether he did damage, right? Then I'm like that's no different than saying it doesn't matter how many times you took me down, I'm still punching your face in. Right? Like, you took me down. I got up. You slammed me. I got up. You slammed me again. I got up. You slammed me again. I got up. And I'm still punching your face and I haven't even started slamming.
You got 2 or 3 more takedowns than me, and I have 85 more strikes on you. That's not even to me.
Slam me again. Like
I think you need 2 or 3 more takedowns to even make it even.
Right, and then you know what was really cool with that fight? That was the first fight. I know you didn't get to see it live, but that was the first fight where they introduced a new statistic to the UFC. We are now measuring average get up time. So Rob Font had an average of 35 seconds that it took him to get up from a takedown.
It's kind of a stat that might hurt Rob.
It is. It changes the game.
Rob doesn't want to hold you down.
It changes the game because
now he wants you to stand up for he can slam you back down.
Right, because now we're separating. Okay, cool. Takedowns, control time, and we're giving something to the person defending. Finally, like now in defense, we're gonna measure how long does it take you to get up because that's valuable. Like again, if you slam me down 50 times, but I get up 50 times,
we're still missing putting value on stuff in the takedown.
Right, we still got to figure out a way to do.
Aldo's
because we do measure
1,000 takedowns and getting taken down. Well, I don't think he took him down at all, and being held in the cage. Yeah.
Well, we do technically measure that. I just don't think that they found a way to account for it.
I don't think they put value on it.
And I don't think that they're putting any value to, or maybe they might. Maybe that's part of why Rob won, because they are now valuing that. Because bro, think about it. If you got 6 takedowns and my average get up time is 35 seconds. Like it takes, like on average, it takes me 35 seconds to get up after you slam me on the floor, right? Like
I mean, that's not the greatest.
it's not the greatest number, but it definitely sounds way better than you controlled me for 4 minutes. Because that's what we're doing. We're doing cumulative control time. They're not doing momentum control time. So like if I take you
Do we
down now,
wanna give
and I
more
get
work?
20 seconds, then I get 40 seconds, and I get 50 seconds, they're like, yo, he controlled him for 3 minutes in that 5-minute round. And it's like, yeah, technically, but if I'm bouncing up and you have to keep bringing me down to get the control time, I should get credit for that.
Yeah, I'm questioning, do we want to give more work to the judges?
I think giving them more things to work with might make it easier.
I just think they need to like restructure the value of these things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
As
for
opposed
sure.
to that.
But if we might, in restructuring the value, you might find, oh, we can't restructure this value because it represents too many things. We got to break this down more.
Is a
You know?
takedown that led to the person got taken down to be down for 1 minute and 20 of those seconds he was threatening the submission and he broke his nose. Like, okay, you got a takedown. I broke your nose, and when you took me down, threatened a submission for 20 seconds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we like?
You
miss
can't
that
really
value?
you can't really value that because you can't read what a submission might be.
No, that's 100% true. But like, it's still one of those things that a takedown does not account for a cut. In my opinion, I believe if I hit you and hurt you, cut you up, whether it's an elbow, punch, whatever, and you took me down, only held me down for a minute or less. They don't value. They shouldn't value the same.
And that's
Nowhere
where
near the same.
that's where I'm different from Andrew. I'm like, nah, bro, it's not a robbery.
That's the
It's
that's
your
the
wrestling brain
that's
is
the
kicking in
wrestling
right
coach
now.
in him.
Right, your wrestling brain is kicking in. You're like, he held him down.
And
It's
I
like,
also
no,
think
bro.
he's being a little invested in these bets, which he's really good at. So I'm not
Great
gonna,
at it.
I ain't gonna knock him for that. But he is getting a little invested and calling a lot of fighters scrubs lately.
Calling people out heavy.
I am no better.
Heavy.
I've called the Ryan Baders of the world somewhat of the same.
Speaking of calling people who out for being really bad, man,
Oh my God,
Javid
he destroyed this kid.
Bashara. Yo,
I never felt bad for somebody that already got knocked out, just being bombarded by words.
yo, what, bro?
Like,
Dude
what?
was so confused.
I think I'd rather take the knockout than the insults. He don't know. He kept asking what happened. So like,
Bro, when Ricky Simone as soon as I saw that punch land, I immediately thought to myself, damn, Javid, you fucked up.
bro, like I was telling you, if you put the animations online, they do these animations. You have to guess who is what's the fight, who fought in this fight, and the sequence is all you see. If you put this fight up there with Usman versus Mazarov 2,
It's almost the same, bro.
Everybody's gonna get confused.
It's almost the same.
Everybody's
bro.
gonna get confused. We already know Usman and Mazarov. You show this one, they're gonna be like, oh, Usman Mazarov. Nope.
Man.
That was Javid getting knocked out by Ricky Simone. Like that's
without as many of the insults that our boy threw, I
bad.
do agree with the thought. Right? Like I think
that was
Javid.
knockout of the night.
This one?
Yeah.
Again, technicality though, right? Like it's a technique thing. Like the technique was so beautiful. Like,
He just
out cold, bro. There's no question here.
But I guess it comes back to what you said last week that like, am I calling it a knockout of the night because
Of the night?
Because of Javid's reaction, how his eyes never went shut, but he was out.
Well,
eyes to the sky.
I'm not trying to
around.
change your mind with it, but I'm gonna clarify in this one for me, right? In a submission, right? Like a submission is always going to result in choking someone out or breaking something, right?
Or if it's the top.
Right, or the top, right? But like, no, I'm saying worst case visual.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know that, right? But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna tap first, right? And when we think about a submission, it's about like how interesting was the technique to getting there? Like we just talked about Melk. Like, bro, Melk got taken down, was not in a ghillie position,
Nope. It was
worked his way
side.
into a ghillie and locked it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that is cool, right? So in the case of the submission, is like the submission leading up to the submission attempt, literally nothing cool happened, bro. It was just when you let go, we saw his eyes and was like, oh, right. In this
It was
case,
crazy.
the cool part of the knockout isn't his eyes not closing. It was the way Ricky did it. It was the
No,
1-2. It was what you can
100%,
match up
100%, and
to
you can,
Jorge and Uzma.
and one of
You
the
know what I'm
reasons
saying?
why it's so similar to it is because just like Mazarov, Javid was not thinking he was gonna get caught by
Get
those
caught like
punches.
that at
He
all.
thought he was gonna defend a takedown at the
Yep.
moment.
In that moment, he thought a takedown was coming and got cooked.
Also similar to how Khabib caught
Right.
Conor.
So
The threat of wrestling.
the thing that I'm looking at when I say this has potential to be a big knockout, right, is the actual knockout. Damn it, buddy. Is the actual
Nah,
knockout
buddy,
itself.
messing up the picture for a second. That was crazy.
Go lay down. We're not finished yet. Go lay down. We're not finished yet. We're
Almost.
messing up the camera.
Almost. You hit me with your ear, I'm gonna punch you.
The actual thing that we looked at and was like, damn, was the knockout. And then after the camera pans to his face and you're like, damn.
Yeah, bro. And then it's been like 6-7 minutes. He's
he's
still
still
down
asking what
there, and
happened.
I'm reading his lips. He said, "What happened twice?" Nobody's telling him, yo.
You're good, bro. Just lay here. You don't want to know what happened yet.
Just relax your mind. Chill out.
Chill. Catch a vibe.
You might be concussed.
We gonna get you a little flying carpet to get you out of here.
I mean, it wasn't one of the scariest because he wasn't like twitching or nothing like Bryce Mitchell.
I don't think anybody feels bad about Bryce Mitchell twitching anymore. I think that train came and went, bro.
I mean, we let the Silva fight go, and we need to talk about his call out.
Oh yeah, he called out. He said he's gonna put Bryce Mitchell to sleep.
Yeah.
Again.
So listen, a lot of people wanted Bryce Mitchell to be punished by the UFC. All they got to do is book him against John Silva, and that's the punishment enough.
Nah, you gotta give him. Yeah, I guess John Silva works.
It's a perfect fight for John Silva again, right in the rankings.
Yeah, because it works John Silva up. You know what I mean? Bryce Mitchell potentially gets beat up.
I guess I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite though, because I do think he's starting to have a slow upbringing when he's running right through everybody. So like,
who that?
John Silva. I think he can call out somebody bigger than Bryce, but it's just fitting.
Nah, but calling out Bryce gets you more visibility right now.
It's just fitting too.
The next fight isn't.
Apparently, you told me he's Jewish, so like.
There's a bunch of the guys from Brazil in those different fight camps.
Mm-hmm.
Michel Pereira, that are practicing Jewish. You know what I'm saying? Judaism is their religion.
Yeah.
So it's I think it makes the most sense because it's a name, like again, name recognition, right? And where
he's in the news,
right? He's in the news, like he's literally in the news. You
sleep
bro.
him, somebody
they're gonna applaud you, bro. Like they're gonna celebrate you in the news, bro. Even if you only get a 2-minute segment celebrating the UFC fighter who knocked out, or like in the news. So I think that. And also, like, your next fight is not going to be for a title. It's not going to be contendership. No. It's just going to be a ranked opponent.
You just want to get in the ranking.
Yeah, get yourself in the ranking, get a big call out, and get a big name. It sounds amazing to me. I feel like we didn't touch on what Iwan did to Ibo because...
Oh, my God.
That was the
Oh,
other...
my God.
The other
Hulk
stellar
got
submission.
His nose broken and went to work.
The other stellar submission, bro.
Bro.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
I would never classify him as a good fighter.
That's crazy.
But he's definitely great to watch, always.
I think he's good. Always. He's just always up against better competition.
Well, he's saying this is the beginning. Like I guess he's
the beginning now.
Like, well, he feels like he's more of a complete fighter. He's worked on his wrestling.
The only thing I'm really upset with this fight about is that for whatever reason, like, Ion Cutelaba found, like, chin regrow spray or something? No. Because, bro, looking into the history, the last 3 fights, not counting this one, right? So, like, before this fight, the last 2 fights went to decision. Mm-hmm. Before that, he was it was KO or bust. You know what I'm
This is the thing.
saying?
But this is the thing. When I say that, like yeah, it's crazy for him to say this is the beginning. It just starts now. But if I remember early in his career, he would get hurt, and his best defense was to swing for the fences and try to take you
And
out.
that's what we saw.
And that's why he gets knocked out. That's not what we saw this week.
No, we did. We did.
What he did was swing and went low for that takedown.
Oh, I don't know how everybody's missing the knockdown, bro.
But he's mixing it up. He's got a different confidence in his takedown, as opposed to before. His only defense was to get in the cage and just swing for the.
But he didn't. But that's exactly what he did
Now
in
he
the fight.
can display his toughness by actually changing levels. If it doesn't work, go back to striking. But
So if you're saying defensively, like reactionally, right? Like reaction to eyeball, the way that the sequence turned around was he did exactly what you're describing, bro. He was swindmilling, and one of them landed on Ibo. And Ibo stumbles. You remember he was like, oh, I thought he slipped, but he actually caught him. Like, no, he caught him with one of his crazy ass swing for the fence mentality moments. He caught Ibo, clocked him. Ibo fell down, got up, and when he got up, that's when Eon was like, no, I want you on the floor. I was going for ground and pound, and you got up. So he threw him back on the ground. And then the sub comes out of nowhere. Yeah, that's the crazy part. Like the sub came out of nowhere. But there was somebody else that I was watching do a recap of this fight, and the same thing. They were like, "Yeah, Iwan just offensively doing takedowns now." And I'm like, "Am I the only person who missed the knockdown? Like without that knockdown, it doesn't happen."
Part of his game though. At all, like he would have never had the whereabouts to do that.
Right, he would have never went for an offensive takedown.
Keeps him in a dogfight and in danger.
Yeah,
which is cool. He was fun to watch. He was always in a dogfight. He's still gonna always be.
But yeah, exactly, because that didn't change.
But now he has a different tool that gives him a different confidence.
I just think if that's the case, the confidence and the tool didn't show itself until after a moment where he already got his confidence from what he normally does. You know what I mean? Like if that knockdown didn't happen right before that, I'd be like, oh yeah, nah, he got the confidence to just go for a takedown. But bro, anybody's gonna have the confidence. You just wobbled this dude. He could barely get up. If you would have moved milliseconds faster, Ebo doesn't even get off the floor. You know what I'm saying? Because he grabbed him as he was getting up. You know what I'm saying? So like those moments now, if without that knockdown, Iwan just got a takedown out of nowhere, I'd be like, oh, this guy's changing shit up. Man. But the whole fight, it was Ebo lands a three-piece, stuns him, Iwan bites down, and starts swinging,
what
bro.
What you're saying is you're not excited to see this new improved Hawk.
Oh, I'm always excited to see him fight. Okay. I just don't care for the new and improved part. That doesn't. I don't think there was a new or improved.
But I can see an improvement in wrestling and grappling to go right into that submission like that.
Okay, I take that back.
That's not something I would have ever expected.
I take that back. New and improved, at least in the submission.
Bro,
right? At least if we see more,
he got right to that.
If we see more of it, right? If he goes into the next fight and tries to do that and immediately gets reversed,
if we find out now Ebo gets subbed his next 3 fights or something, then maybe it was just Ebo's not good at that. Whatever.
You know, maybe he's not like that.
I just didn't expect. I didn't expect that. That was.
I think the biggest factor that needs to be taken into consideration and studied is Iwan's chin, bro.
Oh, absolutely. I think he always had a chin.
No, he was
great.
The punches that he was eating before, younger Iwan was getting knocked out by less powerful punches than what Ibo threw. That's what I'm saying. Like, where does that come from? How are you getting knocked out by less powerful opponents 6 years ago than you are now?
He probably wasn't.
Like, what is the exercise?
He's probably a lot more healthy right now, whether it's eating cleaner.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that part of the improvement, I want to stick around. Because if that part sticks around, then we have an interesting fighter. Because like you just said, he can be all chaotic and exciting if he's going to survive that.
A lot of these guys are kids. Like Glover's chin didn't grow up or mature until he was 40.
Glover's the only other example.
Not 40. It was like 30, 37 or so. But
close enough.
Yeah,
but like, who's another example you could think of that's happening? I
also thought
look at Garbrandt.
I thought he had a chin before that. Sure, John Jones punished him for 5 rounds. Never really hit him too hard, but the shots and the techniques he was hitting with, he could have caught him. He could have went out. those elbows to the head. Like Glover
Yeah,
never
but he also had a trajectory where there was like
yeah, because
three
he fought
losses.
He fought Rumble.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he
Yeah,
went from
bro.
fighting Gustafson, got knocked out to fight Rumble. Like, come on, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like
You don't
that's
want to
a
get knocked out and then fight Rumble.
but
That's not
those
making
are the things
sense.
that damage your chin, right? So
Yes.
to then come back from those moments that we agree don't make sense and have a
And the
stronger
real
chin.
reason is that most people say that once you lose your chin, it's gone forever. But that's not true. If you take the right amount of time off, you change your diet, you stop cutting as much weight as you used to.
That might be the
All
case.
these there's ways around it
We can't say that for sure because it's
until you
always
because we don't know
yeah.
their
No,
entire
no,
case.
I was gonna say we can't say that for sure because in terms of so relatively speaking, right? Combat sports are new.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like we're still learning all of these different like practices and techniques. That's why, like again, in a similar way to the NBA, right, where we talk about the older versus the newer, like the older generation might have been tougher than the newer generation, right? Because they were literally elbowing each other, headbutts, groin shots, like everything was fair,
They
right? So
were
their toughness
they
was
were
on a
also,
different
they
level.
were also on steroids.
They were also on steroids, right? So toughness on a different level, right? Technique wise, the newer fighters are definitely better because they're growing up
They're faster,
MMA
stronger.
fighters. They're not starting in boxing and saying, I'm gonna go learn to grapple.
And I would
They're
hope
literally
they're
right,
doing a lot more
and
homework.
they're doing more homework. They have
Mm-hmm.
more to go off of. There's more research available. So there is a
Their
possibility
coaches are probably
their coaches are former
a lot.
great fighters,
The coaches are probably
right?
like
Versus
so much
the
better.
original
They have
fighters,
more.
their coaches were the guy from down the block who was known to know how to beat people up.
Or the
You know what
older
I'm saying?
guys who got into the sport too late
Too late
to
to
actually
compete.
compete, so they don't they can't really put themselves. They're you and me, not that you and me. They're me, not being able to like try to coach them. Like yeah,
Right.
I'm telling you to do the things I've never tried.
But I've seen it enough that it should
Mm-hmm.
work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, right? So I think that's kind of a case of like now you're looking at the like there's a lot of fighters that I don't think would have done as well against newer fighters,
I
right?
mean,
And I think
I would
Eon,
go
Glover are perfect like living examples of that,
just like any sport, NBA, football,
right? Like
whatever.
NBA, like
I believe there was players from the older eras that can play in today's era, but the norm
is it's not gonna go well,
is the game evolves.
right?
The game
I mean,
evolves.
there's a couple standouts, and
Mm-hmm.
like again, being that UFC specifically,
GSP could fight at any era.
right?
Anderson Silva could fight at any
UFC
era.
specifically being so young, we've had the privilege of witnessing it happen, right? Like we get to see a John Jones
Mm-hmm.
then and a John Jones now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he hasn't given us a fight that matters for now,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's
But we've seen
possible,
enough to know that
right?
he fights in any era.
Right, he can fight in any era. Unlike
Forrest Griffin
Forrest Griffin,
in this terrible 205 era we're going through, where there's 4 or 5 guys in the top that are gonna rotate getting beat down by Pereira or whatever. But Forrest Griffin wouldn't crack the top 10 in today's game.
nah, he wouldn't.
He's
Unfortunately,
way too slow.
yeah,
He's way too slow.
unfortunately.
I mean,
Also,
I think he'd say it himself. He's a very
yeah, he
humble
said it.
guy.
He said it
He's
on
like
the Jackson
he said he
podcast.
hates John Jones. He hates Anderson Silva. They're way too good. He said I can't stand LeBron James.
They're too good.
How is somebody that good?
They're too good. Too good. But you know who hasn't hung it up yet? I was trying to stall, bro. This fight really broke my heart.
No, he has to. He has to.
I was trying to stall.
He has to.
My boy Triple C.
He,
Listen,
he's on some different things. I
don't know.
I said he'd win this fight, but I think there's like a 5% chance if he didn't the eye pokes and all that stuff didn't happen that he would have came back and won.
I'm shooting a
And I'm
little
only
higher than
giving
that.
that 5% because he actually had done the most damage at that point.
So I'm gonna shoot way higher than 5%, only because this Henry has way more 5 round experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So coupled with he was already doing more damage, he was starting to build the momentum going into the championship rounds. Who's going to survive that? I was still leaning Henry for sure. But the eye poke was a big deal. And now I want to be very clear, right? I do not think at all Henry milked it. I think what actually happened is something that as a veteran, he chose to do. And as fans, because we can never confirm that he did this unless he actively says it, and even if he says it, we might not believe him, right? We'll never appreciate the justice he did for Song Yadong, right? Because if Henry doesn't finish the third round, Song Yadong gets a no contest on his record. And that's not fair to him, right? Now, being Henry, I don't believe that was the whole part of his plan. I also believe he thought he was winning on the cards because going to the fourth round makes it a technical decision. So he thought he was going to be able to get it with the point deduction, or maybe there was some extra stuff going on in his head for knowing the rules so deeply, and he screwed himself. But at the very least, I think, and then again, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, maybe I'm wrong, but I genuinely believe as a veteran, he did what you love for the WWE, bro. Put him on.
He put him over.
Put him over.
I,
Put him over
I
because
do
if
think I
he
do think he's
backs
too.
out of the third round, that's a no contest.
Yeah, I think
bro.
he's too smart for me to say that he thought he was winning. He's too smart. Too smart of a fighter. He knows his fight IQ is too up there. Like
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
there's no
That's,
chance. There's no chance he thought he was
I
winning.
was just playing to the people who might think he was doing it maliciously.
No.
Like there's that
No.
possibility. But I genuinely believe in Henry
if
in
there
that
was
way,
any
bro.
malice in what he was doing, maybe he was trying to get a point deducted. He just got a nut shot and then poked twice.
Yeah.
At what point do we take a point?
Yeah, maybe he was trying to get a point deduction. That would be the closest to malice. But genuinely, like me, and again, I know super cringe. We don't love Henry.
I did read his lips where he went like he said like this is a rough. He said it's fuzzy.
Right, he said that right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
like, can you see? It's fuzzy.
It's fuzzy. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm giving him too much love. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But I do believe that was Henry showing love to the kid that was in the crowd when he was at the Olympics. The kid who has the picture of that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like that for me is what happened there.
I don't.
That's
not
you know what I mean?
what I think happened. Only because, for what I know of Henry, like a little bit of him was defeated. He wasn't able to get a takedown. Like they weren't even close.
No, but that's part of what I'm saying plays into rather than give him a no contest. He was like, "Yo, I'm losing this fight. I'm not gonna rob you of that opportunity to win the fight by getting a no contest." You know what I'm saying? Even when you think about like, look at how many people the ref spoke to in the cage, and the only person who acknowledged and understood it with one explanation was Henry. The ref went over and was like, "Yo, Henry, we're gonna start the fourth round. I'm gonna stop it immediately. Doctor's gonna come in." And Henry was like, "Yep, got it." So that way we can go to the decision. Everybody else that the ref explained it to, they were like, "Wait, what do you mean? No, hold on." Henry was the only person who was like, "Yeah, no, that I know that's what's gonna happen." Like it just feels way too like he was just too
but I also
clean
think
with
that
it, bro.
feeds into
Too
like,
clean with it.
and the fact that that feeds to the fact that I think he was a little defeated. Felt like, damn, I'm not who I was anymore. It's not me anymore. I'm not that guy anymore.
It could, and that would also be a reason to put somebody
put him
over.
over.
Yeah, put him over. I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point, like, you know what would make me feel vindicated in this thought process, bro? If Henry retires outside the cage within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think
if he does that, I will feel 100% for sure that he did that so that Song Yadong wouldn't get a no contest, bro.
I think that's exactly what was happening, and he even thought about it like, if I retire now,
I'll steal his thunder. You know what I'm saying? And steal his thunder on an already awkward situation. You know what I mean? But again, like that, remember, we remember history based on how recent it is. Like we have a very strong recency bias, especially in the sport of UFC. I'm saying this to all fan-driven people, but specifically speaking to UFC fans, we have a recency bias, right? In 5 months, bro, people are not gonna remember the situation that transpired when Song Yadong fought Henry. They're just going to see that he won. You know what I'm saying? And especially that looks way better. Like historically on his record, as someone who values legacy and record so much and is so adamant about it, Triple C, like I said, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but in my heart, I'm really like, yo, nah, bro, y'all missed it. Like Henry really just did some shit for this boy, bro.
Did I miss the post fight the post fight interview in the cage that
he didn't do one?
He didn't. So Song did it do it?
No, Henry didn't do one.
No, I was talking about Song though.
Song did one. They booed him a little bit.
Did
He
he?
said he would love to run it back if Henry's up for it.
So did he? So that means that he ventured off at a Umar call out.
Yeah, he didn't make the Umar call out.
I think he understood that he had some work to do.
Nah, I think he understood.
It wasn't a bad performance, but it was a really.
Nah, I think it was really one of those cases of like I don't feel like I got the win because I poked you. Versus like remember everybody has ego.
I can see
And
that.
then we all got a little bit of ego. So even if I won the fight, like I don't feel comfortable with the fact that you can always question if I won the fight.
He had 3 fouls in that.
Yeah, so I think it was a smarter move rather than call out Umar and really piss off the people booing at you because they don't think they got the fight they were looking for. Say, yo, I'll run it back if he's down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if they're both running back, cool. Now again, Henry can't.
Dana's not booking that.
Even just before we even get to Dana, Henry can't retire after he just said to the kid, we could run it back or whatever, so this way people know. And then the kid says, yeah, we should run it back. You can't retire in the cage after that. So now, again, maybe it's a conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm giving Henry too much credit. But if he retires in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to feel like I was 100% right, bro.
I think he will, though. I really think he will.
Because it would make sense for him too, because it wasn't.
That was the fight for him to win. I'm not saying that the UFC put Song in front of him for him to win, but I think that was the one he.
That was definitely the one, and you know what else makes me feel like he's gonna be like this was the end. We didn't see a lot of wrestling.
He didn't. He hardly went.
As going into a fight against somebody that sure he's averaging like a 60% takedown defense. But that's 60% to anybody. We're not talking about 60% against the triple C.
Go snatch your 40% off him.
Right, go snatch your 40%. See what you could do with that 40. And he didn't even go for it, which for me felt like, oh, nah, this is dad Cejudo.
And he was also getting a little overconfident with the hands.
Right.
Which Henry's always had good boxing.
Always.
People forget he has a little bit of boxing background.
So that was it was exciting to watch because I am excited for Song Yadong to get the win. Even though I was rooting for Henry, of course, but like I'm always in favor of the division moving forward. Let's not getting stuck in legacy fighters or older fighters. As much as I critique the idea of like we have a recency bias or we forget our fighters quick, I am part of that community of people who has a recency bias and forgets fighters quick.
No,
right?
we all forget, sir.
We're here for the continued growth.
Another thing is maybe he doesn't ever want to retire in the ring again after that last time.
Right, maybe there's that piece of it. Like I'm never doing that again. I got the best possible ring retirement ever.
I would have PTSD though. It was the worst decision he ever made in his life.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or maybe the best because we don't know if he would have. At least now, he never lost the belt.
No, but you make the money, man. Go make that championship money. Have the performance. Exactly. Have the performances, and they will pay you. But you saying that they have to pay you before you do it. You got to remember, he became double champion rather quickly. It's not like he was going crazy in one division and went up. He beat a guy that was unbeatable. So after, what is it, 1 or 2 defense?
I think Henry, and again, that's one of the things that makes it tough with the older fight roster conversation, like when we talk about the greater fighters from back in the day, because yeah, it is a fair thing to say, like Henry moved to getting a double champs opportunity very, very quickly. But also, who was left? No, it's not an Ilya situation where he ran like he went to go fight for a second belt and there was tons of people left that he could call as contenders. Who was left?
There was nobody that he hadn't either beat himself or Demetrius hadn't beat twice.
Right. You know what I mean? So, and with Demetrius's legacy, right? Like, I feel like it meant more, right? Because
the only thing that was left was Demetrius versus him again, and trade happened.
Yeah, the trade happened. That was it. And that's why I'm like, maybe it was the right time to go. Because who do you fight after that? Then everybody you fight, you run the risk of losing to a scrub.
No, but then later came the Morenos and all of this, and he would have been able to get that fight that he always wanted against Moreno because he feels like Moreno did him dirty. There was things that could have.
Yeah, but Moreno didn't come for like a year and a half, bro. It was too much of a gap.
But imagine he would have reigned for that year and a half.
Against who?
It doesn't matter. It looks good for him, his legacy,
I guess it could.
as opposed to sitting in the sidelines coaching and not making the money that you would have been making in the UFC, still coaching.
Well, I mean, do you feel that way about Amanda Nunes not fighting Kayla Harrison?
No, because I don't think Amanda loves fighting the way Henry loves fighting. The difference is Amanda doesn't care about money as much as Henry cares about money. So Henry was trying to like bargain it. You can't bargain against your passion. But when you're not as passionate as others, you can walk away. It's fine.
Yeah, it's easy.
Like she had coaches saying that she comes to the gym, I push her, and I know 100% whether I'm pushing too much already, I gotta back off her, or let's keep going. Because some people are just good at fighting. They're not people that love to fight.
Right.
And Amanda was just
Was
really good at fighting.
Mm-hmm.
She never even gave the vibe of somebody that loved to fight. She wasn't malicious, scary, but not because of her like
Her personality or her presence. She's chill.
She was like the most like in Brazilian. how more can I like John Silva playing around and doing nonsense?
Brazilian.
Yeah,
Brazilian.
bro. Like
Brazilian.
They have like a different like appreciation for life.
Yeah. That could be it. They're also having an incredible like surgence in the world, like the recognition in the world climate, like globally, economically, like Brazil's really becoming a much bigger country than it was before, right? Where like everybody's talking about them. But let's get into the fights. Well, before we get into this week's fights, I want to address how quickly the internet spirals information out of control, right? So this past week, we all found out Ilya's vacating the belt, going up to 155. Diego Lopez, Alex Volkanovski will be fighting for the vacated title. Somehow, that news, and apparently we might have Diego Lopez to blame for it, exploded into the idea that Dana is never giving anybody a chance to be a double champ again. That's not the case. He addressed it last night post conference or at the post fight conference, and he summed it up exactly how I've been saying about Ilya from the jump. I think Ilya is a great fighter. I do not think we can credit his legacy unless he fights the other people in the division he has to fight. Diego Lopez, Yair Rodriguez. Sure, you can say Volkanovski beat Rodriguez already, so it doesn't matter. But that's not true.
Not stylistically.
Right, that's not true stylistically.
Ilya's weakness has been shown to be head kicks.
And it is the worst. I absolutely hate that type of MMA math where like one person beat this person beat.
No,
it
that's
doesn't
not
work.
How the math works. If you tell me Ilya always gets caught by a head kick and he avoids the guy that throws the head kick without a tell.
What are we talking about?
I am not of the thinking that Yair wins that fight. But I do think he poses a huge threat. A huge threat.
I am not confident enough that Ilya wins the fight to not want to see it.
Yeah, I'm confident enough that I can not see it, but I would love to see it. I would love to see
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not confident enough
I'm confident
to give
enough
up the fight.
To be like, I don't have to see it, but I would love to see it.
Nah. And that's my issue. I feel like you can't say you have a legacy off of the idea that people are confident. Like look at just in the last 6 weeks, we've seen 6 favorites, 6 massive favorites get fraud checked. So as far as I'm concerned,
I mean, in the year, we've seen at least 5 people lose their O's.
Exactly. So again, if you are prone to head kicks, you're ducking the guy who throws head kicks, and your defense of that is saying, I don't have to fight him because he lost to the guy I beat, who doesn't throw head kicks.
To both of them. He did lose to both of them, though, but it doesn't
That's
mean
wild,
anything.
bro. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
That's wild. You know what I'm saying? So he's moving up. Unfortunately, we're not getting the most amazing dream fight that anybody could have thought of. especially because he vacated the title. Like, you vacated the title. I don't have to treat you like a champion anymore. I want to see Ilya versus Patty. Now, we're probably still going to get Ilya versus Patty because if Patty beats Chandler, that boosts him up in the rankings for sure. The problem
I would
is,
love to see
does
that
Chandler
too, but
beat Pat? Does Patty beat Chandler?
I would love to see that too, but we would also be ignoring how smart Ilya is, and I think he's gonna probably go for a better opponent than Patty.
Like who?
I think Patty is like if all fails, but what I'm thinking, Dustin Poirier.
I'm not trusting the Dustin Poirier situation because Dustin's been asking for that fight for too long, and Ilya hasn't said yes. Now, granted, that
I don't
is,
think Dustin has actually been.
bro, he was the first one
what
to
he
jump
did
up.
say, what he did say, if he wants to fight for the belt, he should fight one of us, and I wouldn't mind.
He was the first one to say that.
That's not exactly him asking for the fight.
Bro,
Because I don't
how
think
is that? How much clearer can you get to ask for a fight than that? If he wants to come to our weight class, he can't fight for the belt until he fights one of us, and I'm willing to be first. It doesn't get any clearer than that.
he said I'll put my name in the hat for it, but that doesn't mean that that's the fight that he would pick given.
But that's what I'm saying. We're going back to Ilya, right? And as long as fans are willing to stand on the defense of, oh, he beat such and such, who beat such and such, so he can like
doesn't matter.
Ilya can go up there and be like, which to me doesn't matter. He beat Max Holloway.
No,
he can go to 155.
His 155 win is Ja Herbert.
Yeah, but he
beat at 155.
But if people are going skill wise, right? You're going, oh well, Max Holloway at 155 lost to who? Charles. He beat who? Justin. So are we now automatically?
Max didn't lose to Charles at 155.
No, he lost at 145.
He
He never lost to Charles. He beat Charles.
He beat Charles.
Sorry, beat Charles.
He beat Charles at 145.
At 145.
He lost to Dustin at 145 and at 155.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking of.
And decision.
My bad. I mixed them up.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking of Dustin.
Dustin.
So again, like that's an example. It's like cool.
All that math don't make.
That math don't matter. But if that math matters,
because guess what? If you book Max versus Dustin today at 155 for the BMF belt, I promise you anything you want to bet, whatever you want, I bet you Max opens up as a favorite.
Yeah, he definitely opens as a favorite.
But he's
for sure. But he's
0-2.
0-2. But the recency bias, that's what it comes down to.
It's not recency bias. It's our eyes don't lie. Dustin is declining. Max at 155, last time we saw him at 155, was worlds ahead of the Max we saw that Dustin beat at 155.
Or
so is that not true?
Or
so is my statement not true?
I don't think your statement's true. Because
you don't think that Max
I just said no. So here's why. Right? The only example you have that you're pointing to of 155 recency bias is beating Justin Gaethje.
Yes.
Who beat Dustin Poirier.
Who also lost to Dustin Poirier.
Okay. Outside of that, what other example do you have of Max Holloway at 155 that's showing you how he's grown?
I think you missed the segment of the sentiment of what I was saying. What I'm saying is that Max's first trip to 155, he didn't look like a 155er at all. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing getting to this weight class. He just wanted to try something different, and you could see he didn't his diet wasn't correct. The second time, you can see he filled into the 155 a lot better.
So
it was a better version.
I do understand what you're saying,
and
I'm saying
it doesn't mean that he beats Justin 10 times in a row. I think the way he got Justin was that first round.
What you just said, right, has nothing to do with his skill set, which is how which is how he lost.
But what I'm saying is that Max would be favorite to beat Dustin today, and I would think that Max wins.
So I agree that Max would be favorite. I do not agree that Max would win. Here's why. All you're going off is his recent performance at 155. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing you're using, right? Dustin beat him at 145 and 155, which means technique for technique, what has changed? Because Dustin has not declined.
I just told you the diet. That's huge.
How? When he fought him at 145. And Max has been the best at 145.
No. The diet is huge. If you come in, it's like comparing Volk fighting Islam the first time and Volk the second time. he was way more prepared the first time.
That doesn't
The
change
second time, you
anything.
can see how flappy he
It doesn't
is.
change anything because this would be their third fight. So
I think
stylistically,
I disagree that it doesn't change anything.
stylistically, what would it change?
No, I'm not talking about stylistically.
Okay,
I'm
so
talking about overall.
So if you're
Changes.
just okay, so if you're just talking, this is what I'm saying. Listen to what's being said, right? You're saying the only thing that's changed that you are counting
I
on.
didn't say that.
You just said
I didn't say only.
okay.
I
The
said
thing.
overall, that's a big. That's
All right.
a
What
big
else?
factor.
So give me the other factors because I've already debunked that one.
No. I didn't say there's more. I'm saying that.
Okay,
I
so
didn't say
that's
this
the
is
definition
solely,
of only.
But I'm not saying
you don't have to say only yourself if you only have one example, bro.
That's not true. If I say this is the reason why I think that this is gonna work. Oh, you're saying that this is the only thing that's
okay.
Gonna make,
So here's my question. You think this is the reason why?
No, I think the biggest factor is Max getting more experience at the weight. 1, 2, making the cut correctly.
What is more experience at the weight? He's only fought one person.
Yes, and guess what? That's one more than the last time.
Okay. Dustin fought for the belt.
2 more than the last
time.
fought
for the belt. Dustin beat Conor McGregor, who also beat Max Holloway.
I'm not comparing their experiences.
And that's exactly what I'm addressing. The only thing you're so this is.
I wasn't talking about Dustin's
experience. But
I was just saying comparing that Max to the old Max.
I said that saying Max is definitely going to win is crazy if you're just basing it on the diet. So far, you have not given me anything outside of the diet that you're basing it on. You know what I'm saying?
Huge. The power difference in that first
is
fight.
That more valuable than fighting for the belt against the most dominant champion? After you fought the person who is called the greatest of all time in that weight division, and then that person says, Jesus Christ, Dustin has become so much of a better fighter since when I fought him? Because that's what Khabib said after Dustin fought Islam for the belt. So you're ignoring all of those things because Max is eating more carrots?
No. I didn't say I ignore. I didn't say I ignore.
That's literally what you're saying. If you're saying Max is more likely to win,
but that's just subjective statements of Khabib saying, "Whoa, he looked better." This and that. I didn't think he looked better. I just think Khabib was a lot more. Better than Islam.
So you think Max is better than Islam?
Why would I say that?
Because I'm trying to understand how you don't think that anything Dustin has done has any value equal to Max changing his diet for you to feel like that Max definitely wins. That's what I'm saying. Like what are you giving me as far as Max definitely wins besides his diet?
I think Max is actually making improvements in his game while Dustin has been either staying the same or he's probably declining at this
point. So you didn't see any improvements in his grappling when he fought Benoit Saint-Denis and knocked him out. You didn't see any improvements in his grappling when he fought Islam and almost made it to the decision in a fight where they expected him to get crushed in the beginning. And also, he got taken by a takedown that literally no one else in the UFC has used.
Irrelevant to a fight with Max.
So how is...
all of that is irrelevant.
So how is Max changing his diet more relevant than any of those things?
They're not, how many rounds have Max and Dustin fought?
They fought 4.
No, they fought a total of 6 so far.
No, because he finished him in the 3rd and that's 5. 3rd and 2nd. So 5.
He never finished in the other one. So no, they went 5 rounds, decision, and then he finished them
in the 2nd. So 7. 7 rounds.
6.5.
Okay, 6.5. Cool. Right. I'm not understanding what any of that has to do with it,
how many of that has been grappling exchanges?
Okay. How much of that matters?
That's what I'm saying. That whole Dustin becoming a better grappler, it doesn't really. It's not going to be a factor in a Max fight.
How is that not going to be a factor?
You think
it's MMA, bro. You don't think there's ever going to be a grappling situation? So I think Max is an incredible boxer, arguably one of the best boxers in the UFC. He doesn't have the power Dustin has. Never has.
And that was the big difference in that last
you think his diet is going to make that difference?
Yes, there was a lot more.
So again, listen to what I'm saying from the core, right? You are saying that Max's diet on one fight is more valuable and impactful than anything Dustin did for any of his fights over the last 4 or 5 years since they last fought.
That's disrespectful.
That's exactly what you're saying,
No,
though.
it's not.
How is that? You're saying Max is a lock to win, and your biggest reason is because of the diet.
See how you keep switching?
Bro, I cannot wait to play this back. You're going to hear yourself say he definitely wins.
I said a lock, though.
You said he definitely wins.
I said I would definitely go with him. I would definitely go with him.
No, you said he definitely wins.
He'll be the favorite, and I would go with him.
You said he was the favorite, and you think he wins.
That's fine. But this is all. What is the point? This is all subjective in the sense that we're talking about somebody's grappling when they're not gonna have much grappling experience.
Oh, that was just one example I gave.
That's what
I could give you.
I was like, that's gonna be irrelevant in the Max fight.
But it's one of 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 fights.
I don't know how we downplaying the difference how Max looked in the first 55.
So take away. So cool. We'll take away the Islam and Khabib fight. Do you think that Dustin hasn't made any improvements between the 3 Conor fights that he had after fighting Max?
Nothing that's crazy visible. No.
Nothing that's crazy visible. Dustin had never broken somebody's leg before and broke Conor's leg. That's not a visible improvement to you?
Yeah, bro. That was a compromised leg. You know that, right?
Compromised by who?
His leg was compromised.
By who?
Going into the fight.
By who?
He had ankle problems before the fight. Look it up.
Bro, he broke his leg on the bone.
I get that. But he was injured going into the fight.
So now Conor was injured.
And he rolled
what
it.
About what about?
Watch the fight. He rolled it while moving back too. Like his leg was compromised.
What about?
I'm not trying to take nothing away from him, but like, bro, these are facts.
Bro, I'm a big ass Max Holloway fan. What I'm saying to you is what's the idea.
The biggest improvement you've seen from Max? Because I've seen crazy different.
Tell me what you've seen from Max that's improved.
He was never kicking as much as he does now.
He doesn't kick a lot still.
He broke Justin's nose with the spinning back kick that he's been doing a lot lately.
That he was throwing to the body and then he broke Justin's nose because Justin tried to do something that he doesn't do, which is go for a takedown.
But that's still something that he actually has implemented to his game that's visible since the last time he fought Dustin. I'm just saying that Dustin hasn't put anything new that's visible that we can actually say that.
So you're saying leg kicks were part of his game the first time he fought Conor when he lost?
Yes, leg kicks was part of his game when he beat Justin. That's how he actually got him.
Leg kicks. So hold on. The Justin fight was also 4 years after the Max fight.
I'm talking about the first time they fought, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was after the Max fight. So again, that's not visible improvements to you?
That's not, bro. You're talking about 4 years ago. How many times did he put that together?
What I'm saying is, you are actively saying that he will be the favorite and you would go with him as the favorite simply based on one. Let me finish. Simply based on one fight. Simply based on one performance.
100%.
I'm asking you, if that's the case, why are you ignoring every performance that Dustin has had since? Well, you are. Hold on. Let me finish.
I wasn't as impressed as
Let me
you
finish.
were.
Let me finish. I'm saying you're ignoring it because when you talk about Max, right? You're saying when Max fought Dustin, these are the things he's changed since he fought Dustin. When you talk about Dustin, you don't acknowledge that Dustin has fought tons of people and there's tons of stuff he's changed since he fought Max. So to say he's a lock based off of his performance against Justin,
unfortunately,
I don't see that.
Unfortunately, Dustin he's always been very complete. He's always been good at everywhere. The only place he's great is the boxing, but he's good everywhere.
Okay, so with that in mind, you're saying they were pretty much equal. The only thing Max had to do was eat better, and he wins the fight.
I never felt like they were equal. I think.
But that's what I'm saying. When you say that the biggest basis is the diet,
I think they're like a perfect example of like styles make matchups, and these two guys could fight 10 times and it can go a lot of ways. I have no idea.
I think on paper and history shows us it goes the same way each time.
I don't agree, but that's I don't see it.
But my thing is it's not a problem to disagree. It's a problem to disagree and not have any reason for it.
But I gave you one reason, and then you told me it was a sole reason. Then I tell you about the fact that you
didn't change the reason.
What do you mean? I told you also he's also visibly improved at kicking and getting more like creative in there. Like, and remember against was it Cater that he fell in love with the elbows? He was like, yo, I fell in love with the elbows. They were just like this is like in-ring stuff, like in-cage stuff.
I know. I'm hearing all of that. I'm hearing all of that. But what I'm
saying,
saying is, are you hearing yourself not acknowledge any of the things Dustin has done? Or do you think Dustin has done nothing in the years?
Me not being as impressed as you were is not me.
No.
Okay,
No.
I just didn't see any visible things that like was gonna be. I know what Dustin is gonna bring to Max. He has great boxing. They were going back and forth in the boxing. The biggest difference was Max was hitting him. It hardly hurt him. When Dustin was hitting him, it didn't matter if it did hurt him. It was still snapping his head back.
Okay.
Even if he was tough enough to keep going forward, it was snapping his head back.
Okay.
The power difference was crazy, which I thought was going to be the same thing with Justin. The fan in me bet Max to knock him out in the 5th round, and we celebrated that, yes. But going into that fight with the information I had before, Justin was too strong for him.
But going into that fight,
did he not like give you any confidence that he really can be in this division?
Not at all. Max only showed me exactly what we expected, and as I said before the fight happened, Max.
I'm fine disagreeing with that.
Max is faster than Justin.
100%.
He was faster the whole fight.
100%.
Even the spinning back kick is a faster movement than Justin trying to go for a takedown.
100%.
There was nothing about power there.
I don't think.
Do you think that Max is significantly faster than Dustin in the same way that he's significantly faster than Justin?
He's not.
That's where the issue comes in.
He's not.
So now, if Dustin is as strong as Justin but faster, this is what I'm saying.
I mean,
you have a speed issue to contend to.
That would be legit.
And I can
call him clean.
And I can speak to the speed issue, right? With the idea of, we just saw what he did to Benoit Saint-Denis. That was a speed thing.
Well, I don't think it's very good.
But you only ever think these guys aren't good after they lose to really great guys, bro. Benoit Saint-Denis was on a tear, bro. Benoit Saint-Denis was on a tear, bro.
Wait. You're going to have to take this out now. So you're going to tell me that I didn't say Manny Moicano was going to run through him?
You're going to tell me that was before the Dustin fight?
No, it was after the Dustin fight.
So I just said, hold on. You said I was going to take an L. Hold on.
Yeah,
I just said after they lose to the big fighter. You said Manny Moicano was going to run through him. That's after the Dustin fight.
We've also agreed that Dustin is still a top of the guy, right?
I know, but it's literally what I said. You said I was going to take an L on that. Use a different example.
Losing to Dustin is that's not huge.
How is that not a huge
But
loss?
Manny Moicano was the dog.
Hold on. You trying to conflate something. Listen. So let me say what I said again before you said that.
He lost the fight that he was a dog.
Okay.
But
he wasn't a dog.
He was favored against Justin.
He was a fucking massive favorite against Dustin. What are we talking about? Bro, he was going from that fight to a title fight.
I think that proves my point that they overrated him a lot. I'm sorry.
No, they're doing what you're doing to Dustin, is that they're underrating Dustin based on a recent performance for Benoit Saint-Denis, because that's what happened. Benoit Saint-Denis had an incredible knockout.
And
then they booked him against Dustin.
Crazy, because
Benoit Saint-Denis had an incredible knockout. And then they put him against Dustin.
Who did Dustin lose to before that? That is a massive mistake by
But that's the same conversation I'm having with the Max thing.
I'm
saying I agree they're gonna make him the favorite. I'm saying I disagree that they should make him the favorite. You're saying you agree they should make him the favorite. And that's where I'm saying recency bias is playing into that. Because if you take both of their last performances away and you go into the performance right before that, what are we talking about? We're talking about Max Holloway beating Yair Rodriguez exactly like we expected him to.
No. You said if you take away the last one, that would be him versus Justin.
Sorry, I was thinking of the last fight at 155. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Last fight at 155.
No, I don't think it would be him versus Dustin. He only fought there twice now. BMF and Dustin for the interim.
Well, I'm thinking of Max's fight at 155, right? Because at 145, we're talking about a featherweight. That's a different conversation, right? But performance-wise, if we're taking away the performances that we're basing this conversation on, because you're not basing his performance against Dustin on the Ilya fight, you're basing it on Justin, right? So I'm saying, okay, take away that fight, right? We take away the Islam fight. You could take away Benoit Saint-Denis fight, right? Like, look how many fights you'd have to take away to get to a point where you're measuring them equally.
No,
Like Dustin fighting somebody who wasn't like, you see what I'm saying? Like Dustin versus finding a fight where Dustin was the underdog, like Max was against Justin, is super hard.
I don't remember was it big?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of remember it being close to a pick.
It got closer to a pick'em once we got closer to the night, but you can't really say much of that because it's a pay-per-view thing.
No,
I think
it's just fans thing.
Fan, exactly. You know, the pay-per-view fans, you don't really know.
We're not gonna know who Justin is unless you are an actual casual that tunes in like, oh, every fight he has is a banger. I don't know any other people, but every one of his fights is a bonus.
Exactly.
There's always a bonus there.
Exactly, bro. And that's why they put Benoit against Dustin, because they were like, Benoit's on a tear. Again, he's finishing everybody they put him against. We got to put him in a contender position.
Challenge of the day. Who did he fight before Dustin?
Benoit Saint-Denis, Fiziev.
Wait. If he beat Fiziev by like a knockout or something.
Yeah, he finished him.
No, he got hurt, isn't it? Isn't it that he got hurt?
That Fiziev got hurt?
I think that is.
I'm pretty sure it was a finish, bro. Look it up. I'm pretty sure it was a finish.
Because that's actually a really good win. I'm not gonna lie.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, what I meant when I said earlier, when I said that you acknowledge these fighters as being bad after they lose to a big fight is because you don't really follow them as early in their career as I do. You know what I'm saying? So like Anthony Fluffy or even Brendan Allen's a perfect example, right? Like
you also remember that there's not a thin line between not that good and saying that they're bad. That's right. I'm not saying they're bad.
No, it's a huge line.
They're just being overrated.
But I'm saying in the sense of looking at the Max situation and going, okay, like I could understand the idea that like, yeah, I could see why they're gonna make the mistake of putting him up.
Nah, he had knocked out Matt
Frevola, that's what it was.
Which is good. That's a decent win, but that's a huge jump. That's a huge jump from Matt to Dustin. I'm sorry.
And right before that, I'm pretty sure it was Thiago.
I think
right before that was Thiago.
Comparing fighters like that is why certain people slip and we're like, oh, he's a bum. They're not bums. But if you compare Matt to Dustin, I'm sorry. Bum is not too far away. Like,
but remember, at this point, when they're talking about Dustin versus Benoit, they're also talking about Dustin's on his way out. His last fight was against but that was before the Islam fight. The beating Saint-Denis is what got him the fight. Right before that was against Conor, and everybody treated the Conor fight like it was the big money fight, like he was retiring.
No, but there's also starting to be a negative towards the Conor fight.
That's because it looks like the money fight.
You chase the money, you almost put yourself out the rankings.
Right.
Like,
they treat it like a retirement fight.
You beat Conor, but is Conor really in the game?
Right. But even that conversation happened after Dustin beat him, right? When Dustin was going up to him, when Dustin fought Conor, the understanding was we probably don't see Dustin going for the belt again. Him winning this fight puts him back in that status again. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say in retrospect, but still, I'm like trying to figure out how do they justify making him a big favorite over Dustin for a Matt Frevola fight when it's still Dustin.
Yeah.
That's that recency bias for sure.
That's what I'm saying, bro. But it all, like I said, it's gonna exist for everything because I'm guilty of it too. I'm very guilty of it.
They've always said this in sports, bro. Is what have you done lately?
Exactly.
But like, I don't. Is that ring rusting? Dustin being.
If you said ring rust, that's a whole different conversation. I'm here for that. Max might be a favorite for the ring rust.
But this is the thing. Dustin's year without fighting is not the same as, let's say, Peyton Talbot takes a year off. Peyton might need a year off to brush up on certain things and work on that. Dustin taking a year off, we have no idea how much he's aged in that time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. If you said third reason that you would put Max as a favorite is ring rust, I'd be like, yo, 100%. By the time, if that actually came to fruition, by the time it happens, Dustin hasn't fought in dumb long.
And that's another factor. In experience.
But then the back factor is like Max just got knocked out.
Max is maybe a year younger than Dustin in experience of fighting in this game. But championship experience, all that kinds of stuff, big fights, Max is older than him. And in real life, Dustin got him by like 6-7 years. Max is young.
Yeah.
Max
Dustin's
is,
definitely
Max
older.
has done a lot.
Dustin's definitely
And
older.
we forget that he's still like 32, 31 years old. Like
that ring rust is the big factor.
So like you book that fight, even if you book that fight later on this year,
but
I'm gonna lean towards the younger guy.
That's
whose trajectory seems to be a little bit more leading up.
Except for the fact that he's older in MMA and just experienced his first knockout.
Yes. All factors are completely valid.
That's what I mean.
All factors are completely valid. But like, I bet my kidney that they're gonna make him.
Yeah, they're gonna make him the favorite. They're gonna make him the favorite.
If they make,
God, I hope they don't make him. I hope they don't make him the underdog for the sake of your kidney, bro.
It's not gonna happen. Yo, Saint Benoit got a big dog over him, but I mean became a big favorite over him because of Matt Pavola. I'm sorry, Ilya knocking out Max is not gonna. That's not gonna be the one that moves it over, bro. He should open up as a favorite.
Ilya cooked Max.
I mean, especially.
But they're both coming off a loss, so that's the good thing.
But if they use recency bias, Dustin is coming off of getting knocked out by Justin not so long ago. And Max knocked out Justin. People try to do this math. I don't agree with it, but they still do it.
I can't do the direct to direct math, but as far as like what happened, if we're talking just recency bias, Max just got knocked out. Dustin got subbed.
Dustin's last fight was sub?
Yeah, Islam.
No, I think he got knocked out by Justin after Islam.
No, bro, he got the Islam fight.
Why would he fight? No. He beat Benoit. He beat Benoit, and then he got Islam. Then he lost to Justin. Why would he fight for the BMF after, and then fight for
This is why. This is the factors that matter, bro. Matt Frevola gets knocked out by Benoit Saint-Denis, right? At the same time, Dustin gets knocked out by Justin.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Dustin gets the title shot is because nobody's available to fight Benoit Saint-Denis, and Dustin takes the fight on short notice.
Oh, so he got knocked out the same night that the same Benoit got that knockout?
I don't think it was the same fight card, but it was in the same window, like the same month or so window. So that's how they end up giving the fight Benoit Saint-Denis.
I don't know why I thought Dustin fought for the BMF after he fought for the title.
He fought for it before. He got the fight against Benoit Saint-Denis after losing to Justin as a feeding Benoit type of thing.
That's the justification.
That's what I'm saying. All of it coming together.
That's the justification I needed for that line, that betting line.
That's where it all comes together.
Vegas don't ever get it wrong on stuff like that.
You feel me? Then Dustin comes in and is like, Vegas, I'm not dead, bro. I lost a title fight against a warrior. You feel me? So he crushes Benoit Saint-Denis, and that gets him the title fight.
I have trouble with being absolute as is Khabib better than Islam. I do think Khabib was more dominant. Like,
I think
his style was more direct. I'm not gonna play with you standing up.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think Islam gets more in the war. He doesn't want to be remembered as, because for as much as people remember Khabib as being dominant,
I get that.
People don't recognize his dominance as good.
I get
you know
that.
What I'm saying?
Pride for like, I stood and banged with him. That don't get you anywhere in this game. It gets you eventually.
But it got people debating who's better.
It gets you eventually knocked out, because this is the thing.
But what if he never does?
That'd make his legacy amazing. But what I'm saying is, he's made himself a lot more beatable because he's more willing to stand and bang with people.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes it easier for you to bet against him, as opposed to if he were to get on like the same thing with Hamzat. If Hamzat starts playing around, standing up, and believing in his hands, I'm more likely to bet against him because there's paths to victory against him. But that other way, when he grabs somebody and smuggles them, there's no path of victory against this guy.
But I think that's the conscious decision Islam is making, right? Like, to build a better fan base, right? Because again, Khabib didn't, like, for as dominant as Khabib was, he did not matter until
he beat
Conor.
Mhm.
You understand? So it's like
He didn't
we can
become a
talk
big
about it, but honestly, Khabib might not even be in the greatest of all time conversation if he did not
If he
fight
never
Conor.
fought Conor, no.
Win or lose, if he did not fight Conor. You know what I'm saying? So
The real fans will be like, "Oh, listen, that man didn't drop
that man,
around. He
you
this and
know
that."
what it would be like?
But
It would be like Gracie, like Royce Gracie, right? Like
hard to say because go ahead.
the casual, like the person who doesn't really know about UFC might know Izzy. They definitely know Conor.
Yeah,
They might know Max.
that's listen.
They don't know shit about Gracie.
Izzy's definitely a casual's favorite. Like is Izzy fighting? People always ask.
They always is Izzy fighting, right?
Like,
But they don't know Gracie. They don't know nothing about the
no,
Gracies.
I
But
mean,
would you argue how good the Gracies were?
through Gracie's time, I didn't know nothing about them.
Or even
But
even during their time.
but then seeing when I first like was learning about this game, like hearing Gracie's names, like the way people would speak of him is what did it for me. I didn't. It wasn't the footage I was seeing because when I first started watching MMA, I didn't know what the hell was going on with the grappling. I don't understand the
It's
cage or
boring.
whatever. But when you see Joe Rogan's best friend, I always forget his damn name.
Eddie.
Planet, Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo gets that win, and like the way he celebrated for beating and tapping Royce Gracie.
You're like, whoa.
You're like, you don't have to know that these people are like huge. You just see the people's reaction is like,
This is real.
he beat him and he's a legend for it. It was like, oh damn.
Yep.
And
but the casual person isn't gonna know that. You know what I'm saying?
even if you put a tape in front of him, like you don't know what the hell. Well, why are you dry humping him? What are you doing?
I think that's why what Islam is doing now makes him the better fighter, because in the same way that I was
Makes him
saying,
more well rounded. But I don't that better.
no.
I have
Well,
trouble with the
let
better.
me explain my better, right? Like
Yeah.
the better is in the same way that I was saying as far as the Rob Font win, right? Like, yeah, you can use all these techniques, but you literally had to throw every skill you had at me, and all I'm doing is punching, right? In this case, it's the other way of like, yo, I'm so good that we all know I could end this in 5 seconds if I felt like it, but I'm gonna put the pause on you just to prove that I can do that too. Right? Like that is where I'm like, yo, Islam's the better fighter, because if you put me if we had a hypothetical situation that would never happen because Islam's already shown the level of respect he has for Khabib, right? But we were really in a situation, we're talking Khabib versus Islam, I'm betting Islam every time. Because grappling, they're gonna be stalemated, and then there's gonna be a sneaky, slippery situation where Islam's gonna crack Khabib, bro.
I kind of think that.
You know what I mean? Like that's on paper, that's how it makes sense, because they're both equal, but we haven't seen anything. Again, if Islam, the thing you're saying is not equal, is a choice.
I think Islam is slicker with the submissions. Do think Khabib might have him on brute strength.
But again, even if you're thinking about that, right? That is a choice. Islam is choosing to do all of these other things while Khabib is only making himself wrestling strong, right? So again, like as a fighter, if your wrestling strong doesn't work, what's your next option?
He probably, unfortunately, there's nothing.
We'll never see it
There's
though.
nothing. But Khabib probably has
There's nothing, bro.
Probably has all the secrets to how to beat Islam on top of that.
He has to. They have to, bro. They have to. There's definitely things that Khabib has seen Islam do wrong where he's like, no one else is gonna see that, so I'm not even gonna tell him to fix it.
No. I'm talking about when he was champion and he can be completely honest with Islam, like, hey, you'll be here one day. But the way you do it's not right. We gotta get it here. I completely believe that happened at one point.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
but I don't know as much of it being from Khabib, because again, like we all know historically his dad was there too.
It was most likely his dad. Yeah. If it happened early in the game.
But I think at this point in the career, there might still be some gaps that Khabib can see that no one else can, because of just what they know of each other.
Just the way the game has changed. Yeah. With the leg kicks and stuff.
Damn, I think we went mad long because I forgot to set a timer and Angel was playing on his phone.
No, I'm watching. It's an hour 45 right now.
Holy!
I'm watching. It's an hour and 45. The show's supposed to be 45 minutes.
You talk too much, bro.
I didn't know if Y'all it got intense.
The show's supposed to be 45 minutes. Unbelievable. All right,
got
well,
intense.
that wraps up the episode for this week. We'll be back later this week with our exciting fight picks for UFC, what? Vegas? Azu Manel whatever it is.
Yo, did we even talk about Abdul getting clipped and coming back and win? That was crazy.
Abdul getting clipped. Oh, we
Yo,
didn't
we
even talk
talk-
about the debut guy. Jesus Christ. Man, good thing we have somebody behind the camera making sure it looks good.
Yo,
All right.
Good job, Angel. Good job, Angel.
See you guys later this week. Peace.